On Larry King Now, actor, comedian, and writer Jerrod Carmichael.
A lot of times the more interesting situations are the ones that aren't funny. You know, it's what you mine around that, around people's view and their perspective on it that becomes funny. But like the situation itself is horribly depressing. I think perspective is not only important in the art, but also for your career. Like, know your strengths, know where you can contribute. Don't do things just to do them. Don't, you know, there's a million cameras, but don't just go do it unless you have something to say.
Were you ahead of your time?
You know, you never really know that till you're dead, right? Yeah. Then you don't know. Then other people go, they look back and they track it and they're like, oh, you know what? We needed them now.
Plus, you're going to be major. You're going to be larger than just billing.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much. My mom really appreciates you saying that. I mean, she's going to get a new house.
All next on Larry King Now. Welcome to Larry King Now. Our special guest, Jerrod Carmichael, comedian, actor, writer, known for the Neighbors franchise and his 2 HBO comedy specials. Jerrod can be seen this summer in Transformers: The Last Night. It's in theaters June 23rd. He's also co-creator and star of The Carmichael Show, now in its third year on NBC. The critically acclaimed sitcom airs Wednesdays at 9 p.m., 8 Central. Are you a comedian in the Transformers?
I think I provide the comic relief. I haven't seen the movie yet, so I'm saying it now.
I hope it's funny.
I hope it's funny. I think I'm funny.
How did The Carmichael Show come about?
It was a long process. I created with a couple friends, and yeah,
sold it to NBC.
Sold it to NBC. I've been, we've just been on the air for like a couple years, but I mean, I've been working with NBC since like 2012, I believe. I met them in like 2011, 2012, so it's been like a long process.
Pretty young, huh? How did it all start young for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I found perspective pretty early. You know, I think that's kind of the key. For a comedian, you know, you have to have a point of view. You know, that's the most important thing you can develop, and I think I kind of developed one a little early, so we started doing television. And
IndieWire called The Carmichael Show TV's boldest sitcom. Were you surprised the network took it?
I think it's what they want to do. Yeah, the thing is, I mean, that could just be me projecting, right? But I really do think that, you know, like comedies that are like adult and honest in conversation, I think that people are excited to do that. I think they're cautious. You know, it's corporations and people are cautious, but I think people are excited.
But you take on gun control, Bill Cosby, mental illness.
Yeah, just, I mean, real things. I don't want a show that didn't sound like real life.
Norman Lear affected you? This show?
Yeah, absolutely.
He's been here. He's a great guy.
He's incredible. He's, you know, talking to him about it, I mean, he's like, yeah, write what you know, write people you know.
You write it?
Yeah.
How autobiographical is it?
It's more so perspective than things that happen. You know, like it wasn't, I don't take situations from my family, but I take a lot of perspective and just kind of exaggerate it and have fun with it.
NBC stays, it struggled in the ratings?
NBC, I think, is figuring out its comedy brand. You know, NBC is in a place of redevelopment, which is kind of why I was attracted to NBC in the first place. I only pitched to NBC because I was only going to sell it to NBC because I was making a show for NBC.
Wow.
You know, and
usually you pitch to 10 people.
Yeah, and I did, you know, I did a deal with Universal because I was like, yeah, they can, you know, pitch to other places, but I knew NBC would be first, and that's the only place I was going to do a show. That was it. I just wanted to do that. What
serious topics are you taking on this season?
The first episode we taped was the one about, my grandmother lets us know she has Alzheimer's, and then she decides that she's going to end her own life. And this
is a comedy.
This is a comedy. Well, we hope it airs next week. We'll see. See if people laugh.
Wait a minute. She's going to kill herself because she knows she has Alzheimer's.
Yeah. Funny episode, surprisingly. The situations never, like, a lot of times the more interesting situations are the ones that aren't funny. You know, it's what you mine around that, around people's view and their perspective on it that becomes funny. But like the situation itself is it's horribly depressing.
Do you think you're going to find more success your third year?
I think
NBC
so.
promoting it?
We're on Netflix. That helps tremendously. Netflix is, it is television.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like to a certain extent.
It is.
It's what people, just kind of go to immediately. It's this huge database of things. So that helped out a lot.
You come up first on Netflix and then on NBC?
The first 2 seasons are on Netflix, and people find it. A lot of people found it since then. I mean, only since March of this year have we been on there. But that's because it's kind of replaced what networks used to do were summer reruns.
Right.
You would grow your audience, especially with comedies in the summer. But now, it's more cost effective for them to do like reality programming and that type of thing. So, you're thankful for outlets like Netflix, like Hulu, that can provide a resource for your show to be seen.
We're on Hulu right now.
Yeah, thank you.
I understand the show is a realization of a lifelong dream of yours?
Yeah, I always wanted a show on NBC. That was kind of
Starting at what age?
I think I was like 11 or 12. I used to tell my brother and my family I wanted a show on NBC because a lot of my favorite shows were on there. Everything from, I watched television with my parents, so I would watch Cheers and The Cosby Show, and you watch, Different World, and you watch Seinfeld, and we watch all these things, and I was like, well, I want to be on that. Fresh Prince is on that, and that was kind of the goal. I wanted Thursday nights at 8, but Wednesdays at 9 is fine. Can't have it all, Larry.
Where'd you grow up?
North Carolina.
A kid in North Carolina is dreaming of being on Thursday nights on NBC. It would fit in good. Were you ahead of your time?
You never really know that till you're dead, right? Yeah. Then you don't know. Then other people go, they look back and they track it and they're like, oh, you know what? We needed him now. Well
said. Our guest is Jerrod Carmichael. We're discussing how his upbringing influences stand-up right after the break. Stay with us. Jerrod Carmichael. He stars on The Carmichael Show. Interesting title. Now in his third season on NBC, he'll also be seen in Transformers: The Last Night, starting in theaters June 23rd. You've talked about Trump on The Carmichael Show.
How can you not talk about Trump,
No,
right?
I say everyone in America talks about him at least once a day.
He's the new Vietnam.
Does he come up in the third season?
A little. I truthfully, with that said, I don't talk about him a lot in this one because I don't think there's a new take on it.
What can you say?
Yeah, a lot of things have been said. A lot of comedy shows, they all take their swings at him. And
late night, it's all
late night. It's it becomes the thing. You become inundated with Trump jokes, and again, you can't help it. I guess it's so immediate and important, so I understand it, but I don't think there's a new take on it that that kind of remains to be seen. What I'm more interested in is how he affects culture and how he affects us and how we react to him and our knee-jerk emotional reaction to him.
And what are your concerns about him there?
Well, it's funny. It's politics in general. I mean, we've kind of eliminated nuance. You know what I mean? That's kind of why I have fun with the show. Everything becomes, it's hard even to read the papers, because it's like every headline is increasingly sassier. Yeah. Like it is just like, and we're all just kind of, everyone's a comedian now. You know what I mean? Like it's
like a bad sitcom.
Yeah, it really is. And everyone's taking a swing, and I get it, but it's just exhausting. So. It's making us a little bit less nuanced. And it's hard, because you do have this immediate, strong emotional reaction to, things that happen. But I think it requires a little patience.
So seriously, though, you grew up poor.
Yeah.
I grew up very poor.
Yeah.
Don't you think Trump will have an impact on poor America?
Oh, of course. Every president. Like that's who's affected first. They, you take the hit first when you're at that level financially. Is hard.
Jackie Gleason, my dear, the great Jackie Gleason, told me he was poor, but he didn't know he was poor until later, because everyone around him was poor. Did you know you were poor?
Oh yeah, no, I knew. Oh no, we were well aware. Well aware. Well, I think the internet, television, all these things kind of eliminate the we didn't know. Because you're just staring at rich people all day. You're like, oh no, yeah, we don't have any of that. you know.
That's right.
Look
at him. The Hollywood Reporter recently described you as one of the great up-and-coming voices in stand-up. When did you start stand-up?
2008. Started in 2008. I didn't start in North Carolina. I started in LA because it's a bit more competitive. The market's more competitive. So, yeah, 2008.
Do you like it as much as sitcom television and character television?
It kind of shifts. I taped the special in December. We started production in January. I didn't do stand-up. I mean, I've done stand-up maybe 5 or 6 times this year, which is so small. And especially for me, I was going up every night of the week, and so it's a different thing. Your focus kind of shifts. So I focused on the show, and the show's over, and then we focus on something else.
Does your stand-up? I do a lot of comedy, make a lot of speeches, and it's all about bad things.
You got good timing.
But
I always watched you. You always had
bad
really
things
great
happen
timing.
to me. I always discuss things that at the time they happened weren't funny, but are now funny when it's foxhole humor.
Yeah.
What do you have a perspective in your stand-up?
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Where do you stand in all of this? Where do you fit in? Why do we need you for this joke? You know what I mean? Like it's a long way from the Catskills where
why
we
am
can
I
just
here?
Shift things around. Yeah, it's like why do we need you for this joke?
How do you even know about the Catskills? You're 30 years old.
Yeah, you got to know your history. You got to know the history of comedy. You got to know the Catskills the way you got to know the Chitlin Circuit, the way you got to know all these things. They're important. You know what it is, and also to know how things evolve so you can contribute to it.
You've had 2 stand-up specials on HBO, right?
Yeah.
You've pretty much patterned your own career, right? I mean, has there been an agency behind you?
It's
is there
a partnership.
A manager that's involved with you? How have you done this?
It's a partnership. Anybody you work with, you're partnering with an agency. You're partnering with these people to try and develop something. Again, I think perspective is not only important in the art, but also for your career. Like, know your strengths, know where you can contribute. Don't do things just to do them. Don't, there's a million cameras, but don't just go do it unless you have something to say.
How does your family feel about your success?
Are we asking about money? They're ecstatic. They're over the moon. Over the moon, Larry.
Are they all still in North Carolina?
They're also in North Carolina. I was there up until last night. I just flew in. I got in at midnight.
So who's in the family?
It's a lot of us now because I have 4 nieces and a nephew, and so I have my brother and sister-in-law who's like a sister to me.
And you found new cousins since the success.
Oh my God, I'm off social media, and you change your number. That's the thing. That's what happens. Everyone's one check away from a new phone.
Up next, we'll be talking fan encounters and Jerrod's upcoming role in a small movie called Transformers. We'll be right back. Balls in the air. He's very successful. He's Jerrod Carmichael, and he'll be seen in Transformers The Last Night. June 23rd is when it premieres. What are you in? Who are you in Transformers?
I am I'm Jimmy in Transformers. It was fun. It was a really fun experience. What does Jimmy do? Jimmy is I like to say he's kind of like actually me if I were in that movie, like the same way I was kind of overwhelmed, like just as if I were a real person that just stumbled into the set and just kind of overwhelmed, that's kind of what the character is because the situation he's kind of thrust into. Did scenes with my friend Mark Wahlberg. He's great. What was it like to work? He's a very hard worker. Very hard worker. He's fun. We talked about Jordans a lot. He's a nice guy. Is this your first experience in a big movie? At this size, yeah. This size. That's part of the excitement for why I even signed up for this, because I wanted to work with Mark. I wanted to work with Michael Bay. These guys who, spin a very giant plate when it comes to film production. It's, you're shooting so many moving pieces, literally so many moving pieces that you're trying to capture and weave a narrative throughout, and it was interesting just to.
The difference, though, is you're used to your own material. You write the Carmichael Show, you write your stand-up. Transformers you didn't write, right?
Yeah, it's well, two things. One, it is hard for me to do things that I didn't write, you know, unless you and the writer have kind of developed it together. It's really difficult because the words are so important. But the great thing is, you know, Michael just kind of had me just improv a lot of things in Transformers. And also it was a learning curve on what works internationally. You know, as a comedian, I can walk into a nightclub in the States and connect with an audience in New York or LA, but, you know, what types of jokes, what type of humor is going to translate into to China, to India.
Are you a writer who performs?
Am I a writer who performs? That's a great question.
Or
probably.
A performer who writes?
I think at my core, you know, at my core, I'm an executive producer.
Yeah, I could see that. I think at your core, Jerrod, you're trying to be everything. Right, Jerrod? You want to control a network? Come on, you're thinking about Thursdays at 10. Where would I slot this?
It's important. You need to know the business aspect of it. You know, you can just stumble into this thing if you want and think that just raw talent is all that matters. It's that, but it's also, you know, it's crafting a career.
Yeah, but most guys 30 years old don't go into a meeting with a network and say, you know, I would slot this Tuesdays at 9:30.
Yeah, but you have to. I think that's an important aspect of being an artist.
Like, give you a lot of credit, Jerrod.
Thank you very much.
You're going to be major. You're going to be larger than just billing.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Thank you very much. My mom really appreciates you saying that. I mean, she's going to get a new house.
Oh, we play a little game of If You Only Knew. I just throw some questions at you.
All right, let's
Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
Childhood celebrity crush. Oh, man. Probably Halle Berry.
Not bad. Yeah. It's a good choice.
Yeah.
Secret talent.
Secret talent. I can carry a note or two here or there. I don't know how much of a secret it is, but
look for his new CD.
Oh, soon. That's when I'm really full of myself, really trying to do everything.
Person you trade places with for a day.
Nobody.
Weirdest job you've ever had.
I've only had one job, so I guess it was the everything. I worked as a shoe salesman at Finish Line.
Really?
That was the only job I had before I moved to LA.
Men's shoes or women's shoes?
Athletic. Sold it to men, women, and children. Everyone came in.
That's a tough job.
Yeah, it's a lot of interaction.
Guilty pleasure?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, 30 now, I've now, all food, all sugar and fried things, you start being conscious of it. So every day is just, you know, French fries.
What never fails to make you laugh?
That's a good question. There are certain people who make me laugh.
Who, like?
Lil Rel, who's on my show, is just funny. He's just genuinely funny. My dad's really funny. There are people that are just,
What superpower would you like to have?
That's a good question.
You keep saying that.
That's a great question. No, because I don't want to just give a...
You don't know.
I don't know, yeah.
Well, I'd like to be invisible.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Why? You're so visible, though. Being visible is so fun.
Invisible.
You would like to be invisible?
I like to be in a meeting, then go outside and see what they say.
Oh, you want to hear people with...
Yeah,
You want to hear the real trash talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would be cool. Although, let them have it. They could talk. You could say whatever. I'm not in the room. Who cares?
What do you wish you were better at?
Time management, I guess, is always a thing. I get lost in, you know, just being an artist. At my core, I really just want to sit in a room and think, you know, and kind of.
But you want to be everywhere, too.
But you want to be everywhere, yeah.
What's the biggest perk of being a celebrity?
Faster tables at restaurants.
Strangest fan encounter?
People who like my work are the greatest, not just because they like me, but because it's really subtle. It's like it's like a nod on the street. It's like a, hey, like a point. I really love that. It's really warm. Yeah, it's really warm, and they're you know. So as of right now, everyone's really warm. Unless you try and hand me a script.
Is there anything you long believed to be true but realized wasn't?
I was born a cynic, so I mean, it's just like, I never trusted the government. I never trusted, so I was kind of born a little, we'll see about that.
What's something we don't know about you?
I'm pretty open.
You are.
Yeah, pretty open. I don't think there's anything.
What's the best piece
I don't know how to love the way that I should. I don't know, just something emotional, some type of emotional.
Do you want to get married, have a family?
I think I'm good. I go back and forth. I have these moments where I go, oh, that would be interesting, but I was just with my nieces and my nephew, and that's enough. I think that's enough. There's already 5 kids I got to put through college.
But you can go home.
Oh, it's great. Oh, it's fantastic. I care enough about their well-being. I can,
But good night.
Good night. Send a check. Here's the thing. I know they say, it's deeper than money. Money is the greatest way to show your love to anybody.
It
bad. Always is. Everyone is lying to you when they say it's not. It's the greatest thing you can do for people.
As Henny Young was saying, to my brother Henry, who said he would not be mentioned in my will, hello, Henry. Jerrod will answer your social media questions in our final segment. The Carmichael Show airs Wednesdays at 9 p.m. 8 Central on NBC. More after this. We're back with the extraordinarily talented Jerrod Carmichael, and he's only 30. My God, what a life you have. Before we get to social...
Is 30 young? Is 30... I don't know what 30 is anymore.
Well, if 70 is the new 60, 30 is the new 18.
Oh, wow. All right.
First of all, with modern pharmaceuticals and the like, you got to live.
Are you telling me I can sleep with 18-year-olds? Is that what you're telling me?
18 and up, yeah. Make sure it's up.
And up. Oh, of course.
Okay, on a serious note...
Yeah, I was being serious.
Bill Maher used the N-word on his show.
Oh, boy, did he.
What's your response to it?
I mean, what was the... I didn't think it was a good joke, first of all. That was the big issue. It was like that Seinfeld episode. I was like, are you offended as a Jewish person? Like, no, I'm offended as a comedian. I was like, oh, what was that?
Was
it was like the same thing with the Kramer thing. I was like, what joke is that? When Michael Richards said it on stage, you're like, that joke? What? Is that a joke?
So in other words,
but it's like...
You weren't offended by him saying it. You just think not only poor taste, but was a bad joke.
I think if you're going to say it, you need to check your intention. You know what I mean?
He took the question.
Yeah, he took the question, and I thought the joke was really bad. I try and give comedians some room because I understand it and I know how hard the craft is and I know what he was going for, but I don't think he thought it all the way through. Obviously, I mean, had he wouldn't, had he thought it through, he wouldn't be apologizing for it, right?
A couple of quick social media questions. Alex Townsend on Facebook. Who's your dream guest star to have on the Carmichael Show?
There's so many. There's so many people. I really wanted to have Whoopi Goldberg on because she's great.
She would do it, but she won't fly out here.
I know she only takes the bus. She takes her bus
or train.
Or train. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, Diane Weiss.
Oh, not bad.
She's great.
Flash Harvey tweets, how do you keep your art so honest?
Don't lie. No, I mean, I think vulnerability is key, because it's it's hard. It's hard to just stick to what you want to say and stand by it. And, people can get angry with you and people can feel some kind of way. But, I mean, just say what you mean.
You have a studio audience at the show. Is it different than stand-up? With a studio audience, when you're doing a sitcom, you got to have patience, right? Yeah,
well, we do 2 tapings because I want it to be a real response.
What do you have, 4 cameras?
Yeah, we have 4 cameras. So it's we have, I want a real response, and I don't want them trained. A lot of times, studio audiences, ours, grew increasingly better. But in anything, when you watch television, they're primed to applaud at buzzwords and react to certain things, and that's hard for me because it's not an honest reaction. But over the course of doing the show, they've gotten really great and and I take out knee-jerk reactions unless it's just honest, just the laughs. We just like to keep the laughs.
Do you get nervous before you go on?
No, not really.
How about stand-up?
No, I get really excited with stand-up when I have like thoughts to share. I get really, really excited and I pace around.
All right, now, no comedian has had it perfect. Have you bombed?
Oh, yeah, of course. Oh, absolutely.
All right, what does that feel like when you're set for 40 minutes, and in the first 7 minutes, this audience don't get it?
You know, you feel like Bill Maher the morning after, man. You just like, oh, what did I just do? What did I do?
Also, it's harder when you're well recognized, right? They expect more of you.
Yeah, they expect more. They expect more, and you want to give them more. You want to give them, you know, honest thought. You know, but
Are you enjoying your success, or are you the kind of kid, and I call you a kid, who's always looking for tomorrow?
it's usually tomorrow. Usually working. I'm usually kind of a bit of a recluse. You know, I go through phases where I'm.
You don't seem
social,
like a recluse.
But like I like to like work and think and go on walks, and I'm usually tied up with something and pacing around. You know, just walking around my place, thinking, smoking a cigar, type of thing. That's how I think. Just pace around like that.
Ending on another serious note, what do you think of Cosby?
I think he's a guy that made fantastic art. I think, you know, it's a situation where everybody loses. You know what I mean? Like you know, he definitely loses. The things that he's accused of are horrible and terrible, and there are real women who are victims and you feel your heart goes out to them because it's such a horrible thing to get over. And then
he was important in your life, wasn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. Absolutely. You know, I mean, you know, and me, you grow up, you watch the show, and you feel connected to it. Especially see this black family, you get so excited seeing that, you know, and seeing it portrayed in what seems to be an honest way, and it's funny and it's smart. And you know, and then you open up the Washington Post and you're like, how many women?
I know him a long time. It's sad, but you're not, man. You're on your way.
That's a hell of a way to end this thing.
Yeah, isn't it? Good luck to you, Jerrod.
Thank you very much. Wait, that's a whole. It's sad. Good luck to you out there.
Stay out of the Playboy Mansion. Jerrod Carmichael. The Carmichael Show airs Wednesdays at 9 p.m., 8 Central on NBC. And Transformers, The Last Night, is in theaters on June 23rd. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at King's Things, and you'll find him the next time replacing me on this show because he doesn't have enough to do.